Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Raw on Netflix review. I'm TJ.
And I'm Yorkie. Welcome to Unleashed Wrestling. Today we're going to do a special shout out to JD McDonough for his performance in Monday night's episode of Raw. He took a bad spot, landed horribly wrong, and he got back up and finished the match and did everything that he possibly could to put on a show for the people. And man, was I amazed. What were your thoughts on it?
Man, and I just thought of this as we were talking, but I showed my wife and my 5-year-old Cohen. He's really getting into wrestling, so he was watching it with me. And you can hear Michael Cole say, "Somebody get a medic out here. He's hurt. He's hurt." I wonder if Michael Cole didn't hear his ribs crack when he hit. Oh, that's why he knew he was like legitimately hurt.
He probably did, but man, the way he took that hit and he collapsed the way he did, I was like, something's wrong. But at the same time, when he got back up, I was like, was he just playing that off really well? But, come to find out, it ended up being a few cracked ribs. Yeah, a few cracked ribs and a punctured lung. So, thoughts out to you on the recovery, JD. Much respect. Hope the recovery goes well, even though I'm still not a fan of the Judgment Day. But, that's the end.
Me neither. I'm like you, though. I kind of thought he was playing it off for a second. Then when I noticed, and after he took that hit, he was barely able to stay in the ring. So I was like, okay, he's like legitimately hurt.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, I saw this morning that he had a couple broken ribs and a punctured lung. I was like, dude, never been a big fan of the Judgment Day, or JD McDonough, but after last night watching them, he's actually very underrated.
Yeah, mad props.
He got to be tough to take something like that, man, because he was a good 15 feet in the air when he landed.
Oh yeah.
So you know that hurt.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
So, besides that, what did you think of last night's Raw?
Well, you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, because I'm going to give you mine.
It sucked. For it to be a Raw before a PLE, it sucked.
A big PLE.
Like a major PLE. Yeah. The only good parts that I saw come out of that show was the promos, and that's very sad.
Yeah, I think that they did a good job of building towards the Rumble as far as, like you said, the promos go, but the matches were kind of underwhelming. Now, the main event was decent, kind of expected, although the ending, you and me were communicating back and forth, so this is predictable, and they swerved us a little bit. We'll talk about that here in a second.
They swerved us a lot. But
the opening promo was Seth Rollins, and of course Gunther comes out and interrupts him, and then here comes Logan Paul, which I'm going to say this. Logan Paul got some massive heat last night. Like his boos were at the Dominic Mysterio and Judgment Day level. I mean, New Day level.
Well, they were also at the level of Roman and Solo.
Yes.
Like when Solo first took over. And they were those kind of he couldn't even speak. But, somehow, some way, Logan just went out there and made it his own and fed off of it and did everything he possibly could and knew to do. And as bad as I personally hate to say it, he's a damn good wrestler. And he is he is perfect for the WWE. I don't care what anybody says.
That's how to draw heat.
I mean,
point blank, he knows how to draw heat. The promo was confusing to me. Like, Seth was talking about how he was going to win the Rumble, and he's talking about he's going to throw CM Punk out last. So I thought either CM Punk was going to interrupt or Sammy Zayne was going to interrupt. And then here comes Gunther, and he's like, yeah, I want you to win the Rumble, and blah, blah, blah. And then here comes Logan Paul, and Gunther's like, I changed my mind. I want you to win the Rumble. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, does Gunther even need to be in this promo? Not really.
Now, you know what I found very funny? Was when Logan Paul's music hit, Seth goes, "Who's this?" Like he really didn't know who it was. But no, I got to thinking about that one. You mentioned the whole Gunther didn't need to be there. He kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the belt that Seth lost at Mania.
It is. And they haven't really had a program, but
And you already have this whole Kevin Owens and Cody storyline going. Why would you put Seth, curveball it, put Seth there instead of the championship
Well, no,
that
I
he
mean,
lost?
well, if he wins the Rumble, that's obviously the championship he's going to go after. I think everybody kind of knows that, but I was just, he's not, Gunther's not in the Rumble, which kind of threw me off. I figured it would have been like a three-way, I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win back and forth type thing, you know, like a bunch of high school kids arguing. But we didn't get that.
You know, Seth did his thing. I always commend Seth when he does a promo because that man can do a promo like no one else other than one person. And
Yeah,
we'll get
Seth is always.
we'll get to that promo here in a little bit.
One thing I found very like just in your face was it wasn't Jackie Redman, it was Kathy Kelly interviewing CM Punk, and he said, "Kathy, if you win the Rumble, I will throw you over the top rope." I was like, "Holy crap!" I mean, he's on fire right now, man.
Yeah.
Like he's on a mission, and you know his mission and his goal is to win the Rumble and Main Event Mania.
Well, he's got to make up for last year when he got hurt at the Rumble with Drew McIntyre and all that. So I mean, he's got to make it right, and I get that, and I hope he does.
I do too.
But we'll get into the Rumble talk in our next episode. But
absolutely. What was the first match? The
first match was Rey Mysterio and Kofi.
I love Rey. I absolutely love Rey.
And I love Kofi. And I absolutely love Kofi.
Too. The match, it was more to me. It was more about what was going on outside the ring than the actual match itself. You know, with Xavier's parents showing up late. And then they kind of turned on him because of what they did to Big E, which I thought kind of added to their storyline. I mean, they're going to use that to further develop their heel character. There's no doubt that's why they wrote that in there. And there's something else they're going to write in there, which we'll talk about that in our Rumble episode as well. But what were your thoughts on that match, man? I mean, I wasn't like underwhelmed, but I wasn't like overly impressed.
You know, like I said at the beginning, that this Raw was very stale in match perspectives. There was a few good spots in the match. Nothing too flashy, nothing mediocre by any means, but it was just a normal run-of-the-mill Monday Night Raw match. Just like mid-card, early match.
And by the way, it was Xavier Woods that was fighting Ray, not Kofi. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Xavier.
Yeah, that match, it was stale.
The whole show, other than the promo, seems stale. I mean, like you said a few minutes ago, it was the Raw before the Rumble, which is, in my opinion, the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. You've got, or PLE, you've got to promote that. Like, you got to have some kind of matches that are just going to
lead into it.
Blow you away. Yeah,
like,
and they just kind of had matches that didn't really make sense.
I don't know if we'll get it Friday or not, but at least something more than what we got at the, like, I know we keep reverting to the end of the show, but that honestly to me was the best part of this Raw.
It made the show.
It made the show, but you know, I can see Friday night we get something between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes a little more in depth.
You got to, yeah, you got to,
because I mean Cody, he's SmackDown, so it makes sense for him to be on that show doing something before the Rumble, and I'm sure Kevin Owens is going to show up because that's who he's got a match against in the ladder match, which that is one of the main matches that I'm looking forward to because I just want to see what Kevin Owens can do in a ladder match.
All right, and then the next match we had was the War Raiders versus the Judgment Day, which we kind of mentioned this, at the start of the show. This is the match that JD McDonough actually broke his ribs. He attempted a moonsault outside the ring, or he wasn't on the apron. I think he was on the top rope, and he tried a moonsault.
I think he jumped over the rope
on the announce table. He did.
Yeah,
he tried that on the announce table, and he overcorrected, and when he landed, his neck. You can go back and watch the video, but his neck kind of snapped back
and hit the top.
Yeah, so that's how, if y'all didn't catch Raw last night, that's how JD McDonough got injured. You need to go back and watch it. It was actually really painful to watch.
Yes, it was.
It was nothing he did other than he just overcorrected, and that happens, unfortunately. But I don't know if you know who Maven Huffman is.
The name sounds familiar.
He was the first Tough Enough winner, so, and he has a YouTube channel. And he had Stevie Richards on there one day, and they were talking about wrestling injuries. And he said spots like that in the middle of a match, unless it's going to make a difference in the match, shouldn't even be done.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's something like a ladder match, and that's how you win the match or something, that's one thing that I get it. You always want to go there and put on your best show, but in the same sense, you got to be safe. But I think the War Raiders ended up winning the match.
Yeah, they did.
And that was about it. I mean, the highlight of that match was JD getting injured, which unfortunately happened. So
wouldn't really call that a highlight, but that was the talking
Right.
point of that match.
Talking point. There you go. Yeah, that was a talking point in the match. So, again, we put our hearts out to JD and hope he has a speedy recovery. He only said a couple months because there's nothing he can really do for broken ribs.
You just kind of gotta ride him out, and the
Yeah,
lung,
I mean,
the lung will fix itself.
Right, and he may still be on the show so as far as like backstage promos and stuff, but he won't have any in-ring competition for a while. We had a tag match with Liv and Raquel Rodriguez against
Naomi and Bianca Belair, but there really wasn't much to that.
No, but the only thing I do want to say about that match is since since Liv and Raquel won, they should be made the #1 contenders, at least have a shot at the tag team titles.
Yeah.
Since they beat the champions.
Considering how they won, I wouldn't say so, though.
One thing I do find funny is every week they find a way for Dominic to get beat up by a girl.
That is pretty funny. Yeah,
Bianca moonsaulted him after last night. Or
I wonder if that's like one of those things where Dom's wife is like, you can do these spots with Liv, but in order to do so, you got to get beat up by a girl on live TV for it to happen.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. But the main event was Drew versus Sammy Zayne.
Good match.
Which
good match.
It was actually a really good match. Of course, you have those two in the ring. It's going to be a good match. Sammy is a very hard worker, and Drew is Drew. He's going to make anybody look good. Towards the end, I was texting Yorkie and I said, "This match is so predictable. Referee's going to get knocked out. Seth Rollins is going to come to the ring, go to kick Drew moves, and he kicks Sammy Zayne." That totally did not happen.
No, it did not. No. Cody Rhodes comes out. Cody Rhodes comes out. And, Cody does his thing or whatever. And then Sammy's sitting there getting beat up, or Cody's getting beat up. And then Cody's pinned into the corner by Drew. So Sammy's like, hey, I'm going to do a hell of a kick. Obviously. And so he goes to kick Drew. Drew gets out the way. And lo and behold, guess what happens? He kicks Cody right in the face. Shocked, Cody was out there to help him. And, last week, Sammy Zayne did it to Seth Rollins. So, hence why we thought Seth Rollins was coming back out. But it ended up being Cody Rhodes. And then...
and here's why I say that they're teasing a Sammy heel turn. I don't think it's going to happen. It's because the last 2 weeks, they've done that. Now, Karrion Kross is out there trying to convince him to do things for himself. Kevin Owens is like, hey, I've got your back. Who's a monster heel right now. I think at the end, he's going to stay babyface. But they're going to tease it for a while to build up to it. I think it's going to be Kevin Owens and Sammy at Mania. But we talked about
that'd
that
be a good match.
Week.
That'd be such a good match. Kevin Owens did come out. He basically was standing there next to Sammy. Sammy's in shock because he had just kicked Cody Rhodes, who was there to help him, and he's like, I wasn't trying to do this. But the funniest thing that I saw was Kevin Owens was standing out there in a Sammy Zayne Forever shirt. And so it's like, because Sammy and Kevin Owens have that chemistry. They've been in the, coming up through the leagues together. They've been best friends. They're both from Canada. So it looks really bad on Sammy Zayne that he hell of a kicked Cody Rhodes, and then Kevin Owens comes out in a Sammy Zayne Forever shirt. So that goes back to your point of Sammy being a heel, but I don't see it happening because they were both obvious accident.
So Steven, here's the thing that kind of confused me though. When all that stuff was over with, Cody was kind of leaned against the corner, right?
Yeah.
And he sat up, motioned for the mic, and Michael Cole goes, I think Cody wants to say something as soon as he kind of gathers himself. And then it looked like the show was going off. I was like, what? They're going to really leave us hanging and do another like WWE exclusive of what happened after the show? But then they come back. And that's when things got interesting. Cody started cutting a promo, started talking. And here comes CM Punk. I really wanted to go back and rewatch it before we did the show, but Punk was, coming out, and Cody seemed not like he wasn't himself. He just seemed a little off. I don't know if it was just the head games Kevin Owens has been playing with him. But Punk was like, "Hey, I'm telling you this because I'm your friend," and it was a friendly promo, but it was a very intense promo.
It was very, very, very intense and very, very, very well spoken.
Yeah, by both of them. I think Cody's, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was just kind of talking like,
I think we got a little bit of smoke and mirrors, Cody, on that one.
yes, yeah, and the fact I was watching a show earlier, and they said Cody was showing some heel-like traits. So there's been talks that they're going to turn Cody heel. I don't know if it's going to happen before WrestleMania.
Probably not before WrestleMania, but if it does happen, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Punk was just kind of pep talking Cody in a sense, but he was also like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know, there's some good news and some bad news about this Royal Rumble match." He said, "I think CM Punk said something like, well, the good news is you're not going to win at WrestleMania."
Yeah.
And Cody was like, what the crap, really? Well, what's the bad news? And CM Punk stares at him for a second. He says, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
And
then
he said something.
And that's when Cody goes off and is like, oh, no, it ain't going to be you. Like, for the most part,
Right.
It was just back and forth, and they were just like two friends just having a hatred for each other for a moment, but in a loving way. And it's just like, damn, that cut deep.
So one thing I found really interesting, though, was during that promo, Punk was talking to Cody Rhodes, and he was like, most people will stab you in the back, but because I'm your friend, I'm going to stab you in the front.
Yeah, that was wild.
And that cut like a knife. And see, Haley, which those of you that know, Haley's my wife. She likes wrestling, but nothing to the point of Yorkie and myself. But even she was sitting on the couch when we were folding laundry, and she heard that. She was like, ooh. I was like, God, that's deep. That's deep. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the show goes off with them standing face to face, staring at each other. So I posted on Twitter or X, which I haven't created an X account yet for us, but it's coming, and I'll post it in the bio or the video when it's created. But I said, and I think Yorkie commented on our Madhouse Sports Channel page, I said, the WWE just teased the WrestleMania 41 main event, and I put a picture of Cody and Punk face to face. And I mean, can it happen? Oh yeah. And we'll talk about that when we do our Royal Rumble preview show here in a couple days. But what were your thoughts on that part, Steven? Because I tell you what, man, when I saw it, I was like, that's the best part of the whole night.
Like, the whole stabbing you in the front, that was, the thing that caught my attention to that. It reminded me of a song by the band Bring Me the Horizon. It's called True Friends. And there's a line in it. There's a line in it that says, true friends will stab you in the front. And just, it resonated, because I've always liked that song, and it just kind of resonated, and I was like, damn, that's deep. And
very deep.
But no, like you said, I think it's going to set up for, if not a main event, it'll set up for a big match during a PLE, whether it be like a Backlash or a SummerSlam or something. If not WrestleMania, we don't know what's in store for WrestleMania. We'll give our predictions on that on our next show, which will probably be later this week. I got prior obligations tomorrow, so it won't be tomorrow. It's wrestling related, just different company. But you know,
Yep.
I'll get into that. I might do a little TikTok video of that one. But yeah, man. To sum it up, promos were the best part of the Raw. It was pretty bland
Yeah, for
otherwise.
For sure, yeah. The action was okay, but I felt like they could have had better. I don't know if they say better quality matches. They just could have done a better job of promoting the Rumble as far as the matches go.
Yes,
Um,
that was the biggest. Like, the matches had nothing to do with the Rumble at all.
No, they didn't. They didn't make any sense.
You know
Except for the New Day and LWO, which we talked about last week. They're building for looks like a rivalry.
a rivalry. Yeah,
That's the only thing that made sense to me.
and that's going to
Well, and Sammy and
resonate.
Drew.
Well, yeah, but you know, like, it's just, and that's still Royal Rumble stuff. Like, that match is just both of those competitors are going to be in the Rumble. All those competitors. So yeah, it's related, but not mainly related.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it didn't set up for like, oh, these people are going to team up against this person, or this person's going to do something to these people with the help of possibly somebody else here. Which, I mean, I guess that's kind of what they're setting up with the Karrion Kross and Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't prominent and not thought about. Like, it was a second thought. It wasn't a main thought. It was a second thought. And it's just, I don't know. I just.
Yeah, I agree. Before we go, I posted on our YouTube page earlier a poll. So make sure you go check that poll out. But the poll says, who has the most momentum going into the Royal Rumble? And the choices are Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, or someone else. If you think it's someone else, vote that and put your comments down below. But Steven, I want to know your opinion. Who has the best momentum going into the Rumble?
As of right now, after last night, my opinion, CM Punk.
Agree.
But
Agree.
that doesn't change my opinion of who I think is going to win it, and that'll be talked about in the next episode.
So y'all make sure y'all check out that video. It should be up Thursday night, Friday morning, afternoon-ish, depending on how quickly we can get the video up. If you like this kind of content, you like this video, make sure you like down below, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, especially early on when we're getting started. We're also going to post a link to our TikTok channel as well as X when we get that up. But we're also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, we're also now on Spotify, just the audio version. So if you want to listen to it on the go so you don't have to worry about looking at your screen, make sure you go that. I'll put the link in our bio there as well. So
we don't want to break your screens, so we understand.
Don't break your screens.
We understand.
Absolutely. But we want to thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all in a couple of days for our Rumble preview. You do not want to miss it because we have some stuff that most people think is going to happen, but then we probably have some things that most people think is not going to happen. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yeet.